Hi, my name is Chelsea Beyer, and today I'm going to be talking about substance abuse and its effects on family, as well as the negative effects of substance abuse in general. To start off with, I'm going to talk about the social views on substance abuse and the wellness. Social media, trends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram are causing a spike in health and wellness and helping to decrease substance abuse. However, there is still often a risk of contracting HIV or AIDS, even hepatitis C, while using drugs. Photos of health and wellness encourage people to take care of themselves, care about others, which, makes social media a good outlet for those who do abuse substances. Also on social media, if posted on a substance abuser site, about, any form of drug abuse in any way, it can actually hold the one that's staying sober accountable as well. Next is the negative effects of substance abuse on wellness. Obviously, this is kind of the trend in which I'm going for, but in reality, it's mainly the negative effects of it. People who use drugs or substances are more likely to live shorter lives. IV drug abuse can cause chronic diseases, because of the sharing of needles. Substance abuse has decreased mental, environment, and physical health. And it is also causing an abundance of people to be admitted to mental health facilities. It is also lowering the ability to fight infections, diseases. It puts patients or people at increased risk for diseases. Then they're also unable to work due to their addiction. They're unable to stay employed. They're spending all their money on drugs. They're not showing up to work on time because they're high, they overslept, they didn't sleep the night before, they're erratic, they're not paying attention, numerous things. And it can also increase the homelessness due to, the abuse within the family. It could be family problems, it could be problems with the person themselves. There's a lot of things that can cause someone to be homeless because of doing drugs. However, there are some positive outcomes after beating the addiction. Many addicts will have the funds available to either pay back debts, to help save money for important family events, because they're not spending that money on drugs. There will be an increase in self-esteem and possible changes in body image and how they see themselves being addiction-free, which is wonderful. They gain a new group of friends who are also sober or who understand the effects of addiction in some way. And they're also then able to mend broken relationships if the participants are willing. If family members are willing to, understand what happened and willing to work with them. And it also can help increase overall health and wellness. And it's to help them also understand that if there's a disease in which they acquired while using drugs, how to deal with it and ways to prevent further illness. Pretty much they end up learning how to care for themselves again. Unfortunately, substance abuse does affect families negatively. There is a person who wrote an article, a doctor. Her name is Dr. Dayton. She had written some wonderful quotes, one of which is, "Families where addiction is present are oftentimes painful to live in, which is why those who live in addiction may become traumatized to varying degrees by the experience." She had also written that living with addiction can put family members under unusual stress, which is extremely true. This is stress that they're not familiar with. Also, normal routines are constantly being interrupted by unexpected or even frightening kinds of experiences that are part of living with drug abuse. Alrighty. Next, there are specific populations in which substance abuse does affect. One area is it easily influences teens and young adults, especially after watching their parents, their friends, older siblings, anything like that when they're doing it. There's also people with mental health issues or family members with mental health issues or problems. They don't know how to cope with the disease in which they have, so they turn to drugs to help with that. Lower income families, people who can't get drugs, or people who can't get jobs, they then tend to turn to selling drugs, not just, like, oh, well, I can't get a job, so now I'm going to sell drugs, and in turn they end up using the drugs in which they sell. Also, from an article in which I had read, it said that Native American youth fared worse, and they have a 15% higher substance abuse use disorder compared to 9.2 for people of mixed racial heritage, 9% for whites, 7.7% for Hispanics, 5% for African Americans, and 3.5% for Asians and Pacific Islanders, which is very interesting. And like the graph in which is on here, that a lot of times, kids tend to be very, very affected with families that have, they're divorced, they have step families, the parents are never married, and it's actually more likely to be rare to have substance abuse in families where both parents are married. Alrighty. And then the plan to improve outcomes for families. One way is to create an online web-based program that allows substance abusers' family to seek help from where they deem fit. They can search reviews, chat online or by phone with other former addicts, or similar to that of the health grade for doctors, the review that they have for doctors' offices. They can also give opinions on treatment plans. They give alternatives. If certain types of rehabilitation and detoxing did not work before, they can look for alternatives, which is a wonderful thing, because then they're more likely to continue with treatment. And it also lets family members choose a rehabilitation as well to assist in the healing and coping process. So, the benefits. The benefit of this plan is to give a private outlet for substance abusers and family members. It encourages the online voice of those with previous addictions to speak out about the effects of the recovery process. It also allows the abuser time to research methods that can suit them and aid in their sobriety. And they don't really have a sense of feeling pressure from others, as that could have been the cause of the addiction in the first place, feeling a lot of pressure from family members to either achieve well in school, to get a better job, to it could be anything, but it could have a negative effect on them, whereas this situation, we're trying to correct that problem. And then lastly, it's a way to help those and families cope the best way possible in the way that it works for them, rather than being forced into a detox and rehab without options for either abuser or the family. The best part about it is the patient gets to choose. The person gets to choose what they know will work for them. Sometimes they don't know, but for the most part they do. They know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So I think this is a great plan, and I hope in which someday it will happen. And I thank you very much for hearing my presentation. And I hope someday down the road it may help someone. Thank you.